Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning.
We're learning Mishna Bava Kamma, Perek Dalet, chapter 4, Mishnah Bava, Mishnah 6. Okay. Shor Shay Meschachech B'Kaisel. You have this ox was rubbing itself against the wall. The Nafal ala Adam. And it fell on a person and killed him. Okay, that's the case. The ox rubbed against the wall for its own pleasure, to scratch itself, but not intent to kill the person. Okay, so basically we have here a case where the shar killed a person without any intention of doing so. Without any intention of doing so. Now another case. Or if the animal, if this ox intended to kill an animal, but instead killed a person who was nearby. In this case, the ox did intend to kill, but it failed to kill its intended target and killed another animal or person instead. So I guess, if you want to make some kind of, what's exactly the story here? Like, how did it make a mistake? I mean, it was going after an animal, and instead of killing the animal, it was going after it, killed the guy. How did that happen? Now, it could be
maybe aimed wrong,
or maybe it was aiming. It had its horns, going towards the other animal. The other animal got out of the way quickly, and before the other animal could stop, it gored a person. So the intention was, or gored a different animal. So the point is that it intended to kill, but it landed up not killing its intended victim. Okay, or it intended to kill a idolater, but instead it killed a Jew. So again, the intended victim did it happen, but it happened to somebody else. Or if intended to kill infants that will not live, that's what nafel means. An infant that will not live, but instead killed one that will live. Now the halacha is, this refers to infants who were born prematurely or not expected to survive, which maybe nowadays is much applicable. But there was a time where if a child was born immature, the chance of survival were very little, if any. And therefore that's called a nafel. It's going to die. And if it's going to die, then actually the animal would not, in these cases, whether it was the case of the idolater, or it was the case of what we call the nafel, the halacha is going to be, that's the last case, on the fallen of ben kayama, it intended to kill the nafel, and it killed a, regular child that's viable, right? In all these cases, putter. In all these cases, the animal is exempt. Exempt from what? From being put to death, right? We talked about how an animal that kills a person is put to death, right? So we say that if it meant to do it, if it killed intentionally, then it's put to death. If it kills unintentionally, it's not put to death. And intentionally doesn't mean completely unintentionally, like in the first case. In the first case, it was rubbing itself against the wall, no intention to kill, and it killed. That's like completely unintentional. But even in the other cases where it intended to kill, but it ended up killing someone or some animal that it didn't intend to kill, or right, but that's the case of, let's say it intended to kill the animal and it killed a person. It intended to kill a dollar, it killed a Jew. Intended to kill a nafel, intended to kill but it landed up killing the viable. In all these cases, the animal is putter. Okay, now let's explain this better. In the Mishna's first case, where the ox rubbed against the wall and it collapsed on a person, the ox did not put to death because it did not intend to kill anyone. Okay, in the next three cases, although the ox intended to kill and in fact killed, since it would not have been condemned to death for killing its intended victim, it is not put to death for accidentally killing its actual victim. Meaning it's not just about the fact that it was unintended. Because actually, if it would have, let's say, killed it would have killed the animal, right? Meaning it wanted to kill the animal, kill the person. Would have killed the animal, would have been put to death? No. So therefore, if at the end of the day it killed a person that really has a halach to be put to death for it, but it wouldn't intend to kill the person, intended to kill something that it wouldn't be put to death for, which is the other two examples also, then the halacha is that even when it landed up killing someone, that when it's intentional for that person, it would get killed. In this case, since it intended to kill that person, it doesn't get killed. because it's not going to be that when the halacha is that even though it killed a person that it should be killed, that it could be put to death for, since the intention was to kill something that it wouldn't get killed for, even though now it killed someone that it could be killed for, it won't be killed. Okay? Now, in all the cases, if the animal is a mu'ud, although it's not put to death, the owner must pay the kofar to the victim's heirs. Now, what does that mean that the animal, in all the cases, if the animal is a mu'ud, then we say it has to pay, remember we spoke about kofar, right?
Yeah.
If your animal kills someone, then the owner of the animal has to pay kofar. Now, but we know that to pay kofar, the animal has to be a mu'ud. That was yesterday's Mishnah. If the animal is a mu'ud, then it's going to pay kofar. So, let's take the first case. The first case of it was rubbing itself against the wall. Now, what was it a mu'ud for? We're saying it's a mu'ud, and then it's going to get kofar. It would pay kofar even when it lands up killing unintentionally. What was it a mu'ud for? That means so the way the Bartanur explains it is that even if this animal was this animal has a tendency to basically rub on walls with the intention of knocking it over so it should fall on a person.
Okay.
That's what its tendency became. It became a mu'ud for that.
Yeah.
Now, in our case, what happened was the next time that it did it, after it was a mu'ud, we know that it was just it had an itch, you know what I mean, and it was trying to just to make itself comfortable by rubbing against the wall, and it landed up though killing another person.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, where the animal was a mu'ud, even though the animal didn't intend to kill, it's still going to pay kofar. It's and it's not killed because it wasn't unintentional, but you still have to pay kofar. Kofar has to be paid even if the animal didn't killed unintentionally. But it's only after it's become a mu'ud, which means it's been established to kill intentionally.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, if it's already, but not nonetheless, but what should say, nonetheless, even if it's mu'ud for that, when it does it accidentally, it won't be put to death, but kofar it's going to have to pay.
Yeah.
So the Mishnah didn't speak about kofar. The Mishnah's discussion is whether it gets killed or not. And in all these cases, we say it doesn't get killed. In the first case, it doesn't get killed because it had no intention to kill at all. In the other three cases, it doesn't get killed because when it did intend to kill, if it would have killed that what it intended to kill, it would have been put to death for that. So now, even though it killed a person that essentially it could be killed for if it was intentionally on that person, but since it wasn't, since it didn't mean to kill that person, and when it did intend to kill, wouldn't have had to be put to death if it would have killed it. So now also it doesn't get put to death for killing for killing the person. Okay, have a wonderful day, wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.